I once watched a brilliant software engineer lose a promotion because he couldn't pronounce one simple word correctly. And the worst part is that nobody told him what he was doing wrong. In fact, 73% of hiring managers admit they've rejected candidates not because of their qualifications, but because their mispronunciation made them sound unprofessional and untrustworthy. What's even more shocking is that most English learners are sabotaging their careers by mispronouncing the same 15 words that appear in every business conversation, job interview, and professional presentation. These aren't obscure vocabulary words from textbooks. These are everyday professional terms that you probably use incorrectly every single day without realizing how much damage it's doing to your reputation. In the next 14 minutes, I'm going to reveal the exact words that are costing people promotions, salary increases, and business opportunities. And I'll teach you the insider pronunciation secrets that successful professionals use to command respect and authority in any room. By the end of this video, you'll never mispronounce these career-critical words again. And people will start taking you seriously as the competent professional you truly are. The first word is destroying more career opportunities than any other pronunciation mistake. And it's a word you probably use in every single presentation, email, and meeting without knowing you're saying it wrong. The word is presentation, and most English learners say presentation instead of pre-te-shun. That tiny difference between sen and zen is the difference between sounding like a professional and sounding like someone who learned English from a textbook. Native speakers use a Z sound in the middle, not an S sound. The same rule applies to dozens of other crucial business words. Organization is pronounced or-ni-gay-shun, not or-ga-ni-say-shun. Civilization becomes ci-vi-li-gay-shun, and realization is re-a-li-gay-shun. Double quotes. Here's the pattern that will transform your professional vocabulary. When you see S between two vowels in these types of words, it usually sounds like Z. Practice these right now. This presentation covers our organizations. Realization. Listen to how much more authoritative and native-like that sounds when you use the Z pronunciation. Subscribe now because the second word mistake is even more embarrassing. And it happens every time you talk about money or business success. The second pronunciation error is costing you credibility every time you discuss finances, budgets, or business growth, and it's particularly painful because it happens when you're trying to impress clients or supervisors with important numbers. The word is salary, and English learners almost always say salary, with the stress on the second syllable, when native speakers say salary with the stress on the first syllable. This mispronunciation immediately signals that you're not a native speaker, which can unconsciously make people question your business expertise, even when your analysis is brilliant. The same stress pattern applies to other crucial professional terms. Industry is pronounced industry, not industry. Company is compagnie, not com-pod-ing. Strategy follows the same pattern. S-to-R-A-T-G-Y, not strategy-y. Here's the life-changing rule that my most successful students use. In most three-syllable business words ending in y, the stress goes on the first syllable. Practice this professional transformation. Our company's salary strategy affects the entire industry. Notice how much more confident and authoritative you sound when you stress the first syllable correctly. Hit the notification bell because mistake number 3 involves a word that appears in every job interview. And getting it wrong can cost you the position before you even finish talking. Now we're approaching the third pronunciation mistake. And this one breaks my heart because it happens when English learners are talking about their biggest accomplishments and proudest achievements, but they accidentally make themselves sound less impressive than they really are. The word is successful, and most non-native speakers say successful with heavy stress on the middle syllable. When native speakers use a more subtle stress pattern, successful, with primary stress on the second syllable but without making it sound forced or unnatural. But here's where it gets tricky. The related word success is pronounced success with clear stress on the second syllable. Many learners get confused and either overstress successful or understress success, and both mistakes make you sound uncertain about your achievements. The key is understanding that successful flows more smoothly than success. Practice these crucial career phrases. I was successful in that project. The success of our campaign. Our successful implementation. The difference in how people perceive your competence is remarkable when you nail these pronunciations. Share this video with someone who's preparing for job interviews, because these pronunciation details can literally determine whether you get hired or not. The fourth word mistake happens every single time English learners talk about important business meetings, crucial deadlines, or significant events, and it makes them sound unreliable and unprofessional, even when they're the most organized person on the team. The word is schedule, and this is where things get interesting because there are actually two acceptable pronunciations, but most English learners choose the wrong one for professional settings. In American business English, schedule is pronounced schedule with a hard SK sound at the beginning, not schedule with a SH sound. While schedule is correct in British English, using it in American business contexts can make you sound pretentious or out of touch with your audience. But here's the secret that separates good professionals from great ones. The verb form to schedule follows the same pattern as the noun. Native speakers say, let's schedule a meeting, as let's schedule a meeting, and I scheduled it yesterday becomes, I scheduled it yesterday. Master this pattern and you'll sound like someone who belongs in the boardroom. According to our schedule, I've scheduled 3 important meetings this week. Click subscribe to learn the advanced pronunciation techniques that top executives use to command respect in high-stakes business situations. Here comes the 5th pronunciation mistake, and it's the one that makes native speakers immediately classify you as someone who learned English academically rather than professionally, which can hurt your chances of being seen as a practical, results-oriented team member. The word is comfortable, and English learners typically pronounce every single syllable. com-for-to-ble when native speakers compress it to com-ter-ble or even table. This reduction isn't lazy speech. It's how the word is naturally pronounced in professional American English. The same compression happens with similar words. Becomes vegetable, not ve-ge-ta-ble. Interesting becomes interesting, not interesting. Here's the insider secret that changed everything for my advanced students. Native speakers naturally compress these longer words to maintain rhythm and flow in professional conversations. When you pronounce every syllable clearly, you sound like you're reading from a dictionary rather than speaking naturally. Practice this professional flow. I'm comfortable with this interesting proposal about vegetable distribution. The transformation in how natural you sound is absolutely incredible when you master these native compression patterns. The 6th word error is particularly devastating because it happens when you're trying to demonstrate your expertise, knowledge, and analytical thinking, but you accidentally sound like someone who doesn't understand the fundamentals of business communication. The word is analyze, and most English learners say analyze with the stress on the 3rd syllable, when native speakers say analyze with clear stress on the 1st syllable. This mispronunciation is especially damaging in data-driven industries where analytical thinking is highly valued. The related words follow the same pattern. Is analysis with stress on the 2nd syllable, but is analytical with stress on the 3rd syllable. Here's the pattern that will revolutionize your professional vocabulary. Analyze stresses the 1st syllable. Analysis stresses the 2nd. and analytical stresses the third. Practice this crucial business sequence. Let me analyze this data, and I'll provide you with a comprehensive analysis using our analytical framework. Master these pronunciations and people will immediately perceive you as someone with serious analytical capabilities. Ring that notification bell because the next mistake involves a word that appears in every performance review and salary negotiation. Now we're getting to the 7th pronunciation mistake. And this one is especially cruel because it happens when you're talking about your professional development, career growth, and future ambitions. But you accidentally sound like someone who isn't ready for advancement or increased responsibilities. The word is development, and English learners often say development with equal stress on all syllables. When native speakers use a clear pattern, vel-op-ment, with primary stress on the second syllable. This word appears constantly in professional contexts. Professional development, business development, product development, career development. Getting the stress pattern wrong makes you sound like you're unfamiliar with these crucial business concepts. The same stress rule applies to environment. It's environment, not environment. And management follows a similar pattern, not management. Practice this career-advancing combination. My professional development in this environment has improved my management skills significantly. The difference in how people perceive your readiness for leadership roles is absolutely dramatic when you nail these fundamental business pronunciations. Here's the 8th word mistake. And it's the one that makes my most ambitious students feel frustrated because they have incredible ideas and innovative solutions, but their mispronunciation makes people focus on how they sound rather than what they're saying. The word is innovative, and most English learners stress it incorrectly as -via-tive or in-via-tive when native speakers in -no-via-tive, with clear primary stress on the first syllable and secondary stress on the third. This word is crucial in modern business because innovation is highly valued, but mispronouncing it undermines your credibility as an innovative thinker. The related words follow similar patterns. Innovation is innovation with stress on the third syllable, while innovator is in -no-vay-ter with stress on the first syllable. Here's the game-changing insight that transformed my students' professional presence. When you pronounce innovative correctly, people unconsciously associate you with the quality itself. Practice this powerful professional statement. Our innovative approach to innovation makes us industry innovators. Share this video with entrepreneurs and creative professionals who need to sound as innovative as their ideas actually are. The 9th pronunciation mistake happens every time English learners discuss teamwork, collaboration, and working relationships, and it's particularly damaging because these soft skills are increasingly important in modern workplaces where emotional intelligence matters as much as technical expertise. The word is colleague, and English learners typically say colleague you with stress on the second syllable. When native speakers say colleague with stress on the first syllable, this mispronunciation makes you sound distant from your team and unfamiliar with professional relationship dynamics. But here's where it gets more complex. The word collaboration follows a different pattern. It's collab-o-shun with stress on the fourth syllable. And collaborative is collab-tive with stress on the second syllable. The key to mastering these workplace relationship words is understanding that each has its own stress pattern, and getting them right signals that you understand professional teamwork culture. Practice this essential workplace language. My colleague and I had a collaborative discussion about our collaboration strategy. Click subscribe to discover the advanced communication techniques that help professionals build stronger workplace relationships through better pronunciation. Now we're approaching the 10th word mistake. And this one is absolutely critical because it happens every time you're discussing project timelines. meeting deadlines, and delivering results on schedule, all of which are fundamental to professional success in any industry or role. The word is priority, and English learners almost always say pri-o-r-tie, with stress on the third syllable, when native speakers say prioritize with clear stress on the second syllable. This mispronunciation is particularly damaging because it happens when you're talking about what matters most. And if you can't pronounce priority correctly, people unconsciously question whether you really understand how to prioritize effectively. The plural form priorities follows the same pattern. Prioritize, not prioritize. Here's the professional transformation that happens when you master this word. My top priority is managing our priorities effectively to meet all priority deadlines. The difference in how authoritative and organized you sound is absolutely remarkable when you stress the second syllable correctly instead of the third. The 11th pronunciation mistake is heartbreaking because it happens when English learners are trying to demonstrate their problem-solving abilities, critical thinking skills, and professional judgment. But they accidentally sound uncertain and unprepared instead of confident and capable. The word is decision, and most non-native speakers say decisione with equal stress throughout. When native speakers use a clear pattern, decide, with stress on the second syllable and that crucial zh sound, instead of a hard s sound. This pronunciation detail is what separates people who sound like decisive leaders from people who sound like they're still learning business vocabulary. The related word decisive follows a similar pattern, decisive with stress on the second syllable. But here's the advanced technique that executive-level speakers use. They also master the verb form decide, which is dias, with stress on the second syllable. Practice this leadership language sequence. I need to decide quickly so we can make this decision and move forward decisively. The transformation in how people perceive your leadership potential is incredible when you nail these decision-making pronunciations. Here's the 12th word mistake, and it's the one that affects every single presentation, report, and professional communication you'll ever give. Because this word appears whenever you're sharing results, outcomes, or important findings of colleagues, clients, or supervisors. The word is statistics, and English learners typically say statistics with heavy stress on the second syllable, when native speakers use a more balanced approach. Statistics with primary stress on the second syllable but without making it sound forced. The related word statistical is even trickier. It's sta-tis-cow with stress on the second syllable, not on the third or fourth. Here's what separates data-savvy professionals from everyone else. They also master the singular form statistic, which is statis, with the same stress pattern. When you're presenting data and analysis, these pronunciation details matter enormously because they signal your comfort level with quantitative information. Practice this data-driven professional language. These statistics show that our statistical analysis of each individual statistic was accurate. Hit the notification bell because the next mistake involves a word that determines whether people see you as strategic or tactical in your thinking. The 13th pronunciation mistake happens every time you discuss long-term planning, business strategy, and organizational goals. And it's particularly damaging for anyone who wants to be seen as someone with big-picture thinking and strategic vision, rather than just task-oriented execution skills. The word is strategic, and English learners often say strategic, with stress on the second syllable, when native speakers say strategic, with a longer E sound and stress on the second syllable, but with a different vowel quality that makes all the difference. The related noun strategy is strategy, with stress on the first syllable, which creates an interesting contrast that advanced speakers navigate effortlessly. Here's the insight that changed everything for my executive-level students. Strategy stresses the beginning, while strategic stresses the middle, and mastering both shows that you think strategically about strategy development. Practice this high-level business language. Our strategy requires strategic thinking about strategic implementation. The difference in how people perceive your leadership potential and strategic capabilities is absolutely transformative when you pronounce these words with native-like precision. The 14th pronunciation mistake is the most subtle but also the most powerful, because it happens when you're discussing professional relationships, business networking, and collaborative partnerships, all of which are essential for career advancement in today's interconnected business world. The word is associate, and this is where things get fascinating because it's actually two different words with two different pronunciations depending on how you're using it. As a noun meaning colleague or business partner, it's pronounced associate with stress on the second syllable. As a verb meaning to connect or to link, it's pronounced associate with the same stress pattern but slightly different timing. Most English learners use the same pronunciation for both, missing the subtle distinction that native speakers make automatically. Here's the advanced professional usage that signals executive-level communication skills. I'd like you to meet my associate, who will help us associate these concepts with our business objectives. Master this distinction and you'll sound like someone who understands the nuances of professional relationship building and strategic thinking. The 15th and final pronunciation mistake is the one that ties everything together, because it's about how you talk about communication itself. And if you can't pronounce communication correctly, everything else becomes questionable in professional settings. English learners typically say com-mu-ni-k-shun with heavy stress on the fourth syllable, when native speakers use a more flowing pronunciation, com-mu-ni-k-shun with primary stress on the fourth syllable, but with better rhythm throughout the word. The related words follow predictable patterns. Communicate is com-mu-ni-kate with stress on the second syllable, and communicative is com-mu-ni-ka-tive with stress on the second syllable as well. Here's the meta-level insight that separates true communication experts from everyone else. When you pronounce these communication words perfectly, you demonstrate your communication skills through your pronunciation choices. Practice this professional mastery statement. Effective communication requires us to communicate clearly and maintain communicative relationships. The irony is beautiful. By pronouncing communication correctly, you're literally demonstrating good communication skills. Now that you know these 15 career-critical pronunciation mistakes, you have the power to transform your professional presence immediately. But here's what separates people who watch videos like this from people who actually advance their careers. Consistent daily practice and conscious correction until these pronunciations become automatic. Starting tomorrow morning, choose 3 of these words and use them correctly in every professional conversation, email, and meeting. Within 1 week, people will start noticing that something has changed about how you sound. You'll seem more confident, more authoritative, and more professionally credible. Within 1 month, these correct pronunciations will be so natural that you'll catch other people making the mistakes you used to make. But here's the secret that top performers know. Pronunciation is just the beginning of professional communication mastery. Next week, I'm releasing a video about the 5 conversation techniques that make people want to do business with you, even if your accent isn't perfect. The week after that, we'll explore the advanced vocabulary strategies that help non-native speakers sound more articulate than native speakers in professional settings. Subscribe now and ring that notification bell because this professional communication transformation series will change how people perceive your expertise, competence, and leadership potential. Share this video with every professional English learner you know, because these pronunciation mistakes are costing millions of people career opportunities, salary increases, and professional respect they deserve. Remember, in business, how you say something can be just as important as what you say. And now you have the pronunciation power to command respect in any professional situation.